We're going to talk about how we can use the distributive property to rewrite fraction expressions. But before we get to that, let's kind of take a review really quickly about how we use the distributive property normally with fractions. So what we have here is 1/2 times x plus 3. We would distribute our 1/2 to each one of the terms inside the parentheses right there. So we've got 1/2 times x, 1/2 times x, and that's going to be added to 1/2 times 3. And we know that 1/2 times x is really 1/2 times x over 1, and that's plus 1/2 times 3 over 1. And 1 times x is x, and 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 times 1 is 3, and 2 times 1 is 2. So we wind up with x over 2 plus 3 over 2. And then you can see that just as if we had a regular fraction, if we had 1/8 plus 2/8, if we were to do that, we would recognize they have the same base, and we would simply add the top two numbers, the numerators, over the same base. So we wind up with 3/8, and this is the part we need to see. 1 plus 2 over 8. Well, these have the same base. So we can simply write this as x plus 3 over 2, because they have the same base, we just add the numerators. Since I didn't get to cover all this in class, I'm going to do a little bit more on this video than I did in class. So we want to take this problem right here, 3x plus 4 over 5, which looks a lot like x plus 3 over 2, and we want to make it look like this first, okay, which means we're basically going to do the opposite steps that we did to get here. So let's take a look at how to do that. The first thing we need to recognize is that 3x plus 4 is being divided by 5. Now, to divide something by 5, we really just multiply it by 1/5. So we can rewrite this whole problem as 1/5 times 3x plus 4. And that's where I cut us off in class. But what we want to do then is we want to finish simplifying by turning this into a sum. So we're going to take 1/5 times each one of these. So 1/5 times 3x, that's 3 times 1 is 3 over 5x. 4 times 1/5, which is 4 times 1, 4 over 5. So now we have turned this into a sum of two different terms. And in class, we took an example of one like this. And we recognized that, hey, 4x minus 16 can be simplified even further. We can take a common factor out of 4x and 16 to simplify that. What would we get? Well, 4 will go into both 4x and 16. So if we take 4x minus 16, pull that off to the side, we can see that there is a common factor of 4 in both 4x and 16. So we'll divide both of these by 4, and we'll get x minus 4. And we can't just get rid of those 4s, so we'll pull the 4 out in front, and we'll get 4 times x minus 4. So we'll write that on top of the 3, 4 times x minus 4 over 3. And then I can see that 4 over 3 is a fraction, 4/3, times x minus 4. So I can simply write it out like this. 4/3 x minus 4. We had to stop there in class, but let's finish and simplify this the rest of the way into either a sum or a difference. So we take 4/3 times x, and then we take 4/3 times 4. And we get 4/3 x minus 16 over 3.